So, a fresh new week has arrived, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, the regular season ended, the play-in tournament went down, providing plenty of intriguing drama, including a few upsets, and the first round of the playoffs are officially underway, so of course we have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. As the 2023 NBA season continues through the playoffs now, PrizePicks is the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy to stay engaged on all of the excitement. All you have to do is pick between 2 and 6 players and the over or under on their projections, and you can win up to 20 times your original entry. Choose between points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made, fantasy points, and more, plus you can even make mixed sports entries, so if you also happen to be a fan of football, baseball, soccer, or anything else, PrizePicks has you covered. When you play at PrizePicks, you're also not competing against anyone else, it's simply you versus the projections available. For today's slate of games, I'm looking at Bam Adebayo to score under 17.5 points, Chris Paul to dish out over 9 assists, and Mike Conley to dish out over 5.5 assists. By going down to the link in the description of this video and using promo code REFERENCE when you sign up, you also get a deposit match bonus of up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Rapmaster, and he says that the Pelicans need to trade Zion Williamson as soon as possible because clearly New Orleans is not the right place for him. Zion Williamson's NBA career to this point can be summed up by one word, and that word is frustrating. He was drafted number 1 overall back in 2019, and 4 years later, he still remains more of a hypothetical than an established talent. Every year the conversation seems to be about, what if Zion stays healthy this year, and what if Zion takes the leap that he's capable of making this year? But 4 seasons in, those things have just not happened. What makes his unavailability even more frustrating for the franchise is the fact that when he has been healthy and on the court, he has been a truly dominant force, producing at a rate that very few others in the league are able to replicate. This year, the Pelicans had a record of 17-12 in the games that he played in, and at one point early on, they were sitting in first place in the Western Conference, but after missing the entirety of the season last year, being able to only suit up for 29 games the next year is just not ideal at all. Finally, to top off all of the frustration, Zion actually did get cleared medically by doctors at the end of this season, so he technically could have played in their play-in games, but he chose not to because he said he still didn't feel like himself. Season is on the line, it's a win-or-go-home scenario, and the player you just gave a huge contract extension to in the summer is choosing not to play. I understand that he wants to be 100%, and he probably wasn't in the moment, but that's just not a good look at all for him, no matter how you try to spin it. The talent of Zion Williamson is so elite, and the Pelicans are their best version of themselves with him on the court, but at some point, you do need to at least explore other options in order to build some sort of team chemistry and get some consistency going, because in the Zion era, there has been almost none of that. I don't think they're in any rush to seek out a trade right now because, as I said before, they did literally just pay him a big contract, and his value is also probably at a low point right now because of his health concerns, but eventually, if things continue down this path, then change definitely shouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from David, and he says that Trae Young is getting to the point where his best role may be as a 6th man, unless he learns to play with a less ball-dominant style. The Hawks making it to the conference finals a few seasons ago probably set themselves up for unrealistic expectations moving forward, because last year they followed it up with an 8-seed appearance and a swift elimination. That knocked them back to reality, so this past offseason they got aggressive and went out and acquired then All-Star DeJounte Murray to pair with Trae Young in the backcourt, hoping to not only give them more playmaking on offense, but to also bolster their defense. But 1 year into this partnership, they haven't really taken any steps forward at all. This season they finished in 8th place again, but got the 7th seed from the play-in tournament, and in Game 1 against the Celtics of the playoffs, they got dominated from start to finish. All season long, we've heard rumors about how Trae Young isn't a very good leader, how he's clashed with some of his coaches and teammates, and how not everyone enjoys playing alongside him when he dominates the ball. So all of this has led to some questions about what a team's realistic ceiling can even be with him as the best player. Trae Young is immensely talented, nobody is saying otherwise. However, the issues with his game cannot be ignored, as he's one of the league's worst defenders. He's not a very efficient scorer despite his ability to shoot from range, and he dishes out a lot of assists but doesn't contribute much without the ball in his hands. I think the original take here might be taking things too far, suggesting that he should embrace a bench role, because the fact of the matter is that he is one of the best point guards in the NBA. It's just hard to build something around him in the sense, and how the Hawks are currently constructed, there aren't many avenues left for them to take to improve. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Danny, and he says that if the Nuggets don't make a deep run in the playoffs this year as the 1 seed, then it's time for them to break up their core. At first, when you hear something like this, it sounds like an overreaction, but realistically, there may be a cap on how successful of a group this one can be as currently constructed, because if they can't get it done in a year like this one, where they've sat atop the standings all year long, and no other team in the conference really looks that dominant. Offensively, this unit really doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, but defensively, their main core is fairly flawed, as Nikola Jokic isn't the best rim protector on the inside, and then Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray are both subpar perimeter defenders. Any team with Jokic on it will dominate the offensive side of the ball, because that's just how good he is at orchestrating an offense. With that being said, if the Nuggets were going to be willing to shake things up, then the suggestion in the original take of them trading for Damian Lillard would definitely be exciting, but I'm not sure if it changes their overall outlook that much. Lillard is absolutely a better version of the skill set that Jamal Murray provides, but they both share the same weakness as a perimeter defender, and then when you take into consideration that the Nuggets would have to pay a hefty price tag to get Lillard there, they would gut a lot of their roster of quality depth pieces as well in that kind of a move. I think they have the assets to make a big move, but they probably need more two-way pieces around Jokic to improve even further. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.